welcome. I have my microphone muted. Great start. How's everyone going? Welcome to the stream. We all okay? Hey buddy. What's going on, mate? Oh, it's hot in here already. Deary me. Got a good one today, boys. We've got a good one today. First thing I'm going to do is open a package I've just received today. So I think there's going to be something juicy in it. Look at this. My grandma, my nan gave me this knife. It's a little pen knife from it's my granddad's old Stanley. I don't know how old this is. It must be. It's got to be about 20 or 30 years old. It's a nice one. Hello, Stephen. You right, mate? Let's get into it. I've got a massive. Look at this. Can anyone guess what this is? Hello, Carl. You right, mate? Did anyone watch the video I've just put up? And if so, what did you think of it? Can anyone guess what this is? It's not a snooker cue, I'll tell you that. Oh, thanks, Ched. Thanks, Alex. I appreciate it. I worked hard on that one, believe it or not. Quite pleased with it. Totally winging it, like it's. One of them ones where I was just sort of recording whatever came into my head at the time. And then I had to go through all the old footage that I've got on my. I've got this hard drive. I've got all my old footage on this hard drive, so I had to sort of go through everything and find what looked relevant to what I was talking about. It's quite hard when you're not. When my naming conventions of stuff is just 001, 002, all that sort of stuff. Hello Darren, you alright, mate? Oh, Stephen, I think you might be close there, mate. Bang on. Not many creators from the pressure washing community go into good detail. Very helpful. Oh, thanks, Jordan. Good handy bits of advice. Nice, thank you. Ooh. Oh, that's heavier than I expected, you know. Oh, it's got the swivel on it. Rated at 220 bar, 30 litres per minute. That'll be just enough, that will, I reckon. Check there's nothing else in there. Let's have a look then. Oh, I'm making a mess in here. I'm making a mess. Hello Joe, how you doing, mate? I've got 8 terabytes of 4K footage to sort through. Been a busy summer. No way. Are you recording everything in 4K then? I was thinking about switching to 4K, but the size of my files and uploads at the minute are crazy anyway, like the render times to just get a video out. It's a long time anyway, and I feel like if I were to do it in 4K, it's gonna take twice as long. The Jet Wash Master, welcome. Right then, so we've got, I think this is a 900mm straight lance, which is what I wanted. I'm sure you remember from one of my other videos if you've watched them. I don't like the bent lances on the end because of the kickback that you get. So this is idyllic. It's got one of the fancy, I'm guessing this is the plastic bit on the end is the same as like the normal quick release things, but it's the plastic bit I'm assuming is like a protector, just so that if you end up slamming it on the ground, you're not going to damage it. And then it's got the Q. Is that called a Q? K-E-W? I always get confused with Q and spigot, or is it a Q spigot? Is that what it's called? I don't know. GoPro Hero 8, record everything. Oh, nice. Hey, Gary, you're right, mate. So this was very kindly sent to me from AC pressure washers. They've been very lovely. And this is the one that I wanted. It's the ST2600, and I think this is like an easy press, like an easy pull trigger. I think I read somewhere it's like 90%. Oh, it clicks. It puts like 90% less strain on your fingers or something. I think I read. Q spigot. Oh, is that what it is? It's both of them. And it's got this is like this means that I think even under high pressure, when the water's going through it, you can still spin the hose, which I can't do on my fixed lance because this isn't like a spigoty thing. It does mean that I don't necessarily have to use my ball valve anymore, although I think I still will use my ball valve just so that I can use the surface cleaner, because the benefit of these is I can just take this off and I don't have to turn the machine off. Like this little connector here, I think stops the water coming out, so it's safe to disconnect. And so if you've got a couple of different lances like this, say I wanted a lance for my turbo nozzle and then a separate lance for my rinse down nozzle, I can just swap it halfway through without going back to the van and turning the machine off. So that's handy. Let's see how it does for the height test. Oh, that's ideal, that is. Yeah. That feels good, and this spins as well. I can hold on to that, and while I'm washing, I can sort of turn the nozzle. And I weren't sure, when I tested one from Pressure Washer Sales and Service in Evesham, they lent me a machine to test. And I didn't get on very well with that. I didn't really like the fact that it was it felt loose. And it's not going to make any difference with the turbo nozzle because that's obviously just a circular pattern. But when it comes to using rinse nozzles and like fan jets and stuff, it might be quite beneficial to be able to just sort of spin it in and out of corners and stuff when you're rinsing things down. So thank you, AC Pressure Washers. That is very, very kind. Oh Jesus! Oh. I've just broke the light. Hang on, back in a sec. Oh no. Oh dear, I've fully bust the element in the light. Dave's on his way. He'll be here soon. He's probably already here somewhere. Jake, I want to purchase a gutter vac. Any advice welcome. Go to Gutter Vacuum Systems. They're lovely. Are we going to be alright in this lighting? I'm sure it's It'll be alright with it. Oh dear. Good start. I have them triggers and I never feel strained fingers, even though I've nerve damage. Really? I was using my lance today, my fixed lance, and with this 30 litre per minute machine, it's insane. It's you know, after 3 or 4 minutes, my fingers are killing, my shoulders killing. It's a nightmare.
Good night, Dada.
Good night, girlie. Love you.
Yes.
Oh, see you in a bit. Oh, God. I've just bust the lights out.
Oh.
Oh, how's your head? Oh.
Have you done that?
I've accidentally swung the lance and smacked into the bulb, and it's now not functioning. It's all loose inside.
The bulb's loose.
Something's loose inside. Hey, Dave, you right, mate?
Put those ones in front of you.
I'll have to send you a light bulb over. Oh yeah, I could put them on. Good thinking. 2 seconds, guys. We'll get Dave in here in a minute. Calm down, everyone, will you? Jesus. Oh, is the TV plugged in that one then?
It's the big chunky wire now, I think.
Oh, that's the Xbox.
Hey, what are you doing? She's doing mine too.
Joe, my machine is 200 bar, 30 litres per minute. It's insane. I don't need it. It's too powerful. It's too much. But it's fun. Yeah, that's better. You okay? I'm just going to shut this door, alright? Could you bring me a drink up, please? I feel like you've got to bring my water up. You right?
Yeah, she's exhausted me.
Oh. May's out of bed. Right. We've got light. I think we're alright now. Did you have a better week? Yeah. Yeah, I've not had a crazy amount of quotes and work come in, although I am hoping to be doing some work for Sophie's mum soon. She's got a big old house. She wants her drive done, she wants the rear patio done, she wants a bit of landscaping stuff done. Need to dig out a load of roots from the drive and relay all the blocks and stuff. It's going to be a big old job. Hey Liam, you right, mate? Spencer, Arden. Right, should we get started? Thanks for asking, buddy. Thank you. Right, music off. Dave, are you around? Guys, I've never done anything like this before. This is totally new to me. Don't know what I'm doing. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. And you find some sort of value. We're just going to have a chat with Squeaky Clean Dave today. I might have to just figure out some of the sound settings. So just bear with me a sec. Voice and video. Headphones. Right, that should be good now. Dave, if you could go into that general chat, and then I'll pull you down, and then we can get going.
What do you want to drink?
I could have some squash, please. Thank you.
Have you robbed her sweets?
I have robbed some of her sweets.
You've not done a put on a toilet.
I did. I just did. Maya gets sweets now for going to the toilet, and I've stolen some of them.
Just poos.
Huh?
Just the poos.
Just poos. I've been a good boy as well. I've been going to the toilet for years.
Yeah, well done.
Right. Let's have a look. Can I pull you in from there? No, I can't. Has everyone else had a good week? Have you been getting much pressure washing done? I had to. Oh, I've got like a public service announcement as well. You know, last week on stream I said I've been contacted by a lady, and I pressure washed her drive back in November, and she's got back in contact saying there's loads of weeds. You didn't resand it. I was like, I definitely did resand it, 100%. Definitely did. I didn't. She sent me a couple of pictures, and I must have visited like to resand, and then I reckon what I've done is the weather wasn't great. It might have rained on the day or something, and I've called it off, and then just forgot and not got back in contact with her, and I was really disappointed with myself. And so I went back today and re-cleaned it, and I'll be resanding it on Wednesday, hopefully. Turn on camera. How's Discord going? It's going better than it's going much better than WhatsApp, Darren. I tell you, we're trying to have a group chat in WhatsApp with over 30 members is difficult. No pressure washing work at the moment. I think it will pick up. It will pick up soon. Dave, there you are. I'm really disappointed with myself. Here he is. Today, re-cleaned it, and I'll be resanding it on Wednesday, hopefully. Hello, Dave.
Hello.
How you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate.
Are you able to stick your camera on?
I thought it was. There we go.
There he is. See if I can get you up over here. There he is. This is nice, isn't it? How's it going? Thank you. Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay, Dave?
Yeah, no problem.
Does it sound like it's coming through this microphone, or does it sound like it's coming through a different one?
No, it sounds like that. Well, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I suppose so. Is everything clear on your end? Can you guys hear Dave?
Hi all, can everybody hear me?
Can you see the chat as well, Dave? So you can...
Yeah.
If you want, just feel free to, if anyone's asking questions and you feel free to just go off on your own tangent and answer anyone's questions if you want to. Perfect. So Dave, do you want to tell everyone who you are? Yeah. For those who don't know.
Squeaky Kiam Dave, small YouTube channel and exterior cleaning, which I've been doing for about 16 years now.
What sort of cleaning are you offering at the minute? Are you doing literally everything exterior?
At the moment, I'm not taking on any windows at all. I'm doing pressure washing, gutters, fascias, emptying gutters, solar panels, conservatories, that sort of thing.
Have you still got a window cleaning round though? You're just not taking on any new people?
I'm not taking on any new, but I have still got a window cleaning round, yeah.
I was going to say, because you did some windows today, didn't you?
Yeah, just a few.
You did a lot of windows today, didn't you? Let me see if I can pull them up. How did you get this job?
A mate of mine been doing it for years, but he was trad, and he used to do them off ladders. And then when the factory got stricter about health and safety, he asked me to come in, and he still does the insides, and I do the outsides. So I do them all with a pole.
So what's the difference with the health and safety? Is it not something he could do with his...
No ladders.
Oh, just the ladders, was it?
Yeah. And then I think he decided, I mean, he's actually a painter and decorator. He was a window cleaner. He now does painting and decorating, which is his main job. And this is the only one he still does on, that he actually does, because they pay him well.
And you said trad. Does that mean traditional?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he does traditional. So he uses the mop and blade, and I use the water-fed pole.
I don't know anything about window cleaning, really. I had a go at it on my own house, and I weren't very good at it. I was leaving streaks everywhere, and I thought, this ain't for me. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's easier with a water-fed pole.
Yeah. Did you start out traditional, or did you...
No, I started with a water-fed pole. There weren't many doing it when I started. So you had to... When I first started, you had to explain to people how it worked. Because and even like you'd be doing them for weeks or months sort of thing, and they still didn't believe it worked, and you had people cancel you because, well, no, that can't work, you're leaving them wet.
Yeah.
But it,
And
yeah.
is it pure water you've got to use?
Yeah, it's pure water. That's why it dries clear, because there's no impurities in it. There's no lime scale left in the water, nothing like that. So if you wash it all down, you wash the frames down, there's nothing in it to leave any marks.
So when you're cleaning, do you wet it down first, brush the window? From what I've seen, it looks like you wet it down first, brush the window, and then sort of rinse it all off from the top to the bottom, and then leaves it streak free.
Yeah, the reason for the rinse is like if you get any lumps of cobweb or anything like that left on it, any bits of bird poo or anything, it just brings it all down with it.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can pull up the pictures of the one you did today. There we go. Yeah, I've got them on here, look. It's a big old building. And this was just for a mate?
Well, I mean, I do it whenever they need. Well, it hasn't been done since before COVID. So it's been a while since it's been done, but I was doing it about every 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. And are you all right with the access and stuff with your water-fed pole? How long's your pole? I didn't.
All the 2-story stuff I do with a 22-foot pole, and then all the low stuff. So I do all the high stuff first with a 22-foot pole, put that away, and then I've got an 8-foot pole just because it's so much lighter.
Oh, okay. And is it like a car? Because I think the one I've got is like a carbon composite where it's part carbon, part fiberglass.
Yeah, it's a high mod carbon fiber. So you go composite, then you've got carbon fiber, then you've got high mod, which is lighter and stiffer.
And they get super expensive, don't they?
Yeah, they do start getting more expensive.
And so before you got into your exterior cleaning, that was like 16 years ago. What were you doing before that?
Civil engineering. I've done all sorts over the years. Qualified as a bricklayer and worked as a bricklayer for a while.
Really?
And then went back to university and did civil engineering. Ended up as a site agent and spent 4 years travelling around the Gloucester area. I worked for the company for 10 years. And I just got fed up with the travelling, the early hours, the early mornings, the late nights, fed up with the stress of it all, the method statements and risk assessments, and wanted more time for myself. So
yeah.
Steve from Exceed Innovations, who make the Univalve, I know Steve, and he actually recommended me start window cleaning.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that what got you started then, the window cleaning? Just offering window cleaning?
To start with, yeah.
And how long did it take for you to build up? Like, did you start it on the side of your regular job and then go into it full time, or did you just pack up and then?
I took my job. I handed me month's notice in, and in that month, me and the wife went canvassing, and we'd got 50 customers before we started.
Wow.
So the first couple of months, well, for quite a while, because I'd come from the construction industry, I did the odd little bricklaying job and stuff like that. And my wife was demonstrating in the supermarkets, where they're handing out the samples. So I did that for a while when I was quiet as well. I just handed out samples, chocolate and cheese and all sorts. So it was anything just to make ends meet.
Just to keep the money coming in. That's awesome. And do you feel like now, if someone were to go into it now and start a window cleaning round, do you feel like there's more window cleaners about these days? If someone were to try and get started like you did, do you think it'd be as easy to get 50 customers straight off the bat?
I think it depends what effort you put into it, as you know yourself with the pressure washing. If you put the effort in, then you're going to. My brother, last May, he moved to a different area, and now he's struggling. It's less than a year. He's struggling to keep up with the work. He's got a chap helping him who only started. The bloke that's helping him has been going less than a year, and he can only give him 1 day a week now because he's so busy.
Yeah,
so that's two people. In the last year, have started up really that are going as, and that's in an area where there's lots of window cleaners already.
Yeah, I think that's the issue in it, and I've noticed from just the people around my estate, there's like 3 different window cleaners that visit every week, and
Yeah.
and some of them have got like it's 2 of them in the van and 2 different poles, 2 tanks in the back, and I feel like you need to for you to both be able to earn a decent living, you've got to be pulling. I don't know how many customers a month you got to be pulling to be able to make that worthwhile.
It all depends on the customers. Do you know what I mean? I've done one job today. I've got a couple of hours to do on it tomorrow, and that's 400 quid.
And
But then other days I might do 20 customers and earn 300 quid.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So it all depends on the work you get in, and also the area you're in. I mean, like my minimum's $12.50 for a job nowadays, like a window cleaning job. My brother, where he is in Cambridge, his minimum's 25.
wow,
Because of the area he's in. I mean, they're building whole estates there that are like the starting price of the houses are like $500,000.
yeah. I was just about to ask you about pricing. I've had a couple of people when I first started thinking about window cleaning. They'd send me pictures of their windows, and you could tell they've not had a window cleaner in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Cobwebs everywhere, similar to the pictures you sent me earlier. How would you go about pricing like a first? Because first cleans are priced differently, surely, to frequent cleans.
1.5 to twice the amount for the first clean. So work out what you'd charge for a regular clean. I mean, everybody does it different. Some people will charge if you have it monthly, or if you have it 2 monthly, they'll charge differently.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to work out your pricing plan to start with. And then I charge 1.5 times for the first clean.
And what size tank have you got for your pure water?
I've got a 600 litre tank, but that can run 2 men.
Okay. And how many times a week are you having to go? Have you got like a fill station near you?
No, I filter my own water.
Oh, so you've got those, is it resin tanks and stuff?
It's it goes through a reverse osmosis, and it goes through a DI bottle, which is like, it looks like a diver's bottle.
I've seen them.
Yeah, and it goes through that. That just polishes it off. So, and I've got all because I live in a terrace street, so there's no sort of off-road parking. I couldn't have hoses going to the van, so I filter that into an IBC tank in my back garden, and then just pump it to the van.
And how long does that how long does it take for that water to filter? Do you literally just put the hose in one end and it comes out pure water the other end straight away?
No, not quite. I mean, it does to filter 600 litres, which is what I can put in my van. Again, it depends on how you got your filter set up. You can have it a lot quicker. You can, with booster pumps and everything, you can have that 600 litres filtering like a couple of 3 hours. Mine takes 6 hours, but I've got it turned down slower, and then that way it comes through purer, and I use less resin.
Right.
But it takes longer to filter.
And you have to keep replacing those resin tanks.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a 25 litre resin bottle, so with mine, I'll probably replace it once a year. It's I think it's about 90 quid to replace, so it's not bad. And I'm not on a water meter either.
Yeah. How long would 600 litres last you on average for like standard customers throughout the week? Not like a job that you've done today.
I'd probably use about 400 litres in a day.
A day?
I'm pushing it. Yeah, if I'm pushing it, on a really busy day.
So it's
I like my flow nice and high, though. I find that people say, well, if you've got your flow high, you use more water. You do use more water, but that's because you do more work, because you're working faster.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose if it's just trickling out the end, you're not getting a good rinse on it.
No.
Are you using pencil jets, or are you using the fan jets?
I use rinse bars.
I saw
So
this on your video.
A rinse bar is like a row of tiny little jets. So it comes the width of the brush.
Okay, awesome. Before we carry on, has anyone got any questions for Dave? If you want to pop your questions in the comments there, we'll take a look over every couple of minutes and see if there's anything we can.
Got a bit of a lag on the questions that are coming through, so
Okay.
might just wait for me to answer them. If you shout them out, Jake, if you see them come up.
Dave's like Spencer's liking the green lights in the background. I commented on them yesterday, didn't I? He looks like he's got a proper setup there, didn't he? Those aren't the sort of plants that I thought they were either. Apparently, they're just plastic.
Plastic bamboo.
Yeah.
It's the only ones we can keep alive.
Resin comes in at 100 quid. 25 litre bag. When's the next ambulance video? I've just watched your ambulance video, Dave, of you stripping out all the wiring and stuff.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. Hopefully next weekend, but I don't know. I'm still waiting for some bits to come, and then it's having time to film it all and edit it. So I was hoping on doing one next weekend, but it could be a bit longer.
Are you still feeling as confident as you were when you bought the van in the first place? Are you still feeling like, yep, this was a good idea?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Can't wait to get it up and running.
That's going to be your... Because have you got multiple vans at the minute?
Yeah. I'm just a bit greedy, I suppose. I've got 3 at the minute.
Wow.
You see, me and my wife worked together for years. We started the business as a partnership and we worked together, and then she became quite ill, and she stopped working when she became ill. But while we were working together, we found we were spending every minute of every day together. So we actually got a second van for her to go out, and so she ran her own part of the round.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then when she stopped working, that turned into the dog van then, because at the time we'd got 5 dogs, we're down to 3 now. So her van's now got dog crates in, so they're safe to travel sort of thing.
But your van with your washing equipment in, you still got a bed for the Alsatian, haven't you? Behind you.
Yeah, she's in a crate on top of the tank.
On top of the 600 litre tank.
Yeah,
that's funny. I'd like to take my dog around with me more often, but she's a big girl.
Of course.
And my van is not equipped. It's barely equipped for taking the 2 kids around with me, let alone a Great Dane as well.
I don't know if everybody's saying, well, where are you going to put her in the ambulance? But I don't know if I will, because with the pressure washer actually running in the back of it, I don't want to gas her. So she might have to sit down.
That's my worry with Coda when I'm taking her out. I'll take her out on the resanding jobs or the gutter cleaning jobs where I'm not running the pressure washer. But there's the noise. She's terrified of everything, so I just don't want to put her through like all that noise. And 2, there's a lot of fumes and a lot of heat coming off that machine, and although you've got all the the back doors open and stuff, you can still feel the difference when you sit in the van after you've just finished the job.
Yeah. You see, that is the good thing with the ambulance. It has got fans in the roof which can extract the fumes, and also I can shut off. There's a window so I can shut off the cab from the main body. The cab from the body of the ambulance.
Yeah. So before you got the ambulance, did you have like a certain setup in the one van, and then the rest of your equipment in the other, and you'd take out whichever you needed?
No, it was too much hassle with the dog crates in there, because they're big. They're not like the wire crates. We had an accident years ago, and we had a dog in a wire crate, and she just got thrown out of it and ended up in the road.
Really?
So, yeah, they're proper heavy-duty crates, and they're just too much hassle to take in and out the van. So now, if I want to do a pressure washing job, I have to take everything out the garden. So, like I said, in a terraced house, all stored in the garden, down the back of our extension, across the next door neighbours, down the alley, and then there's no parking necessarily outside the house, so we could be 100 yards up the road. So at the moment, it takes me like 3/4 of an hour to put my pressure washing gear into the van. So I try and bulk all my pressure washing jobs together, And then if I've got all the pressure washing gear in, I can't get the gutter vac stuff in.
Yeah.
So
And
do
you reckon
mate.
with the ambulance now, do you reckon that you'll get everything in?
Yeah. So the pressure washing gear is going to be built in at the back. I'm going to use the pressure washer I've got at the moment. I'm going to mount that in the back. I've got a 400-litre buffer tank. Then in front of that, I'll have a 250-litre window cleaning tank. So if I get the windows dirty while I'm pressure washing, I've got the gear to clean it down. I'll also have my gutter vacs in there. And I've also got a mobile tower, which again is a pain to get out the garden. And at the moment, if I take that to a job, I have to put it on the roof. But that'll just stand up in the back of the ambulance.
And what's like the payload of a van like that? Are you going to be able to have your tanks full, or are they going to have to be empty most of the time?
1,500 kilograms, so 1.5 ton.
Okay. So that should be plenty, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And are they baffled tanks to stop the weight moving around with the water?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was something.
I doubt that I'll keep the pressure washing tank full though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I try not to. Since I've had everything moved to the back of the van, I've got a much bigger heavy pressure washer at the back of the van, right on the tail, and then just in front of that, I've got a 250-litre tank, and even when that's half full, I can see the wheel arch is so much lower next to the wheel than it was before, and I just I don't want all that water sloshing around, and it makes such a difference to getting up hills and your braking distance as well, having all that water in the back, and the momentum of when you do put your brakes on and everything sort of moves forward in the van, like it's a lot of extra momentum.
Well, I'm getting that already with a 600-litre tank in there.
Really, and I've also noticed as well, because the back end is like weighed down further, I'm wheel spinning more when I'm going away from like roundabouts and stuff. Yeah. I'm not putting my foot down. I ain't trying to wheel spin, but I've noticed it's doing it a lot more. Sovereign says, does Dave have any plans to go back to food cleaning?
Go back to what?
Food cleaning. What does that mean? He's put a cheeky winky face. I don't know what that means. Not on a water meter. If the water company's listening, yeah, oh god, let's not get Dave in trouble. Roof cleaning. Oh, not food cleaning, roof cleaning. There we go. Do you have any plans to go back to roof cleaning?
No.
No.
I haven't got one to do, but a bit of a strange story. It was an existing customer, and before she started using me, she'd had somebody come from miles away, clean the roof, scrape it all down, which is the hard part. Just leave it on top. They'd left it on top of, like she got a flat roof and a conservatory with a flat roof on it, and they'd left it on top of it, everything they'd scraped off, and they didn't come back and treat it, and they didn't collect the money either. So she wants me to go and just give that a scrape off and clean that. So I'll probably do that one, but that's about it. I'm not planning on doing many more. They're too much hard work.
So all that, and they've not got paid for it.
No.
What's
the point? They didn't finish the job. They left the moss piled up everywhere.
And like you say, you've done the hard bit by scraping the roof.
To travel quite a long way to get here as well. I don't understand why you came this far.
So what don't you like about roof cleaning?
It's hard work. I'm getting too old for it. Do you know what I mean? You do a couple of days roof cleaning and you need the rest of the week off.
I don't think it's just you, mate. It's I've done a few now, and luckily they're bungalows, really shallow pitch, so I've been able to get up there on my hands and knees. And I reckon it's probably one of the most soul-destroying jobs you could possibly do, and especially when you're on your own as well. The first couple I did was relatively small bungalows, but even bungalows have got such a wide surface area compared to like a normal house. I spent probably over half the day scraping the one side, and I got halfway through and I thought, oh God, I've still got the other side to do. And this was in like the winter months where it was getting a bit dark as well, quite early, and I thought, this isn't for me. I'm not going to do another one of these. But on the next one I did for my cousin, I had 2 lads helping me, but this was a much bigger bungalow and had a bit of pressure washing work to do around the property as well, and that was still horrible, not fun at all.
I did have my brother working with me, and when he was with me, I didn't mind it so much. You know, we got on really well. He's a lot younger than me. There's 20 years difference. So we got on well and worked well together. So I didn't mind it so much then. And he's still doing it now. But
Yeah.
no, it's on your, like you say, on your own. It's hard work.
It seems to be like the natural progression of people. People start out window cleaning, then they go to pressure washing, and then they go to roof cleaning. And it seems like that's the goal for a lot of people, is to start being able to get enough equipment to start being able to do roofs. And I think if you haven't done one, or if you haven't, I think the best thing to do with roof cleaning, if you've not done one before but you're planning on going in that direction, is go and work with someone and spend the day cleaning a roof with someone, and just get a good understanding of how much work's actually involved.
Yeah, definitely.
Because even once you've got the entire roof clean, everything else around you is just plastered in muck, especially if you're pressure washing. But even if you're just scraping, the one I did for my cousin recently, just scraping all that moss, the gutters are all full, everything down the side of the house needs sweeping up, and of course, if it's a slightly wet day as well, the moss is going to spread muck everywhere, and so you've got just as much to clean up on the ground as you did on the roof.
Yeah. When I was with my brother, one of us would scrape and the other would be doing the cleaning up, and just be on the ground, passing stuff up, vacuuming out the gutters, cleaning up the moss, and you could easily keep 2 people going like that.
Yeah, and it's a lot of like back and forward, like this bit of equipment, up and down. It's just it's pretty back-breaking work, really.
Yeah.
I don't mind the biociding. Once it's all scraped down and you can just apply the biocide with the water-fed pole, that's the easy bit.
Yeah.
The ambulance looked like a lot of blooming work, even in fast forward. Do you watch videos in fast forward, free tip?
No, but I produce them in fast forward.
My question is,
but I do like to have a project. I like to have something to occupy my mind that I'm working on. I enjoy it, and it's a bit of content for the channel as well.
yeah, definitely. I'm going to ask you a bit later about how you find the time, because doing the window cleaning, the pressure washing, the YouTube, and then working on the van in your spare time as well, it must be a lot, but we'll get onto that a bit later, I think.
You can about how people progress though from like the window cleaning to the pressure washing. It's a bit different with me. I started pressure washing. Well, I started working on farms when I was 11. So we used to use pressure washers around the farm all the time. So I've done it for years. And with the window cleaning, I started with that. Then people would ask you to do a conservatory roof, and then fascias and gutters. So that was a natural progression. And as I said, 16 years of it, my shoulders have had it. So what I'm trying to do is not do jobs that are easier, but I'm trying to do jobs that use different muscle groups. So it's not just window cleaning all the time. So I'm having a break from doing one thing. So really, it's for me health as much as anything.
Yeah. Do you feel physically fit? Because I'll tell you what, since I started doing this, like almost 2 years ago now, I've lost so much weight, and I feel like my arms are bigger, my chest is a bit bigger. Do you feel like you're getting your sort of gym workout just by going to work?
Yeah, I don't really feel like going to the gym afterwards.
No.
I've got to admit. I mean, it's like my step count. Some days it's just ridiculous. What have I done today? I'm just trying to find it. I've done 30,000 steps today.
Wow.
So I've got back from window cleaning and I've gone and walked the dog. So
Yeah. Do you?
that's 14 mile I've walked today.
You said you have to walk the dogs individually, like separately as well sometimes.
Yeah. Often that. Well, a couple of them had operations lately, so they're on short walks. But my wife does quite a lot of the walking. She's a lot healthier and fitter than she was, so she's doing a lot more of the walking now than. And I just do the shepherd normally when I get home. And we've lost a couple as well, so it's a lot easier now. We're just 3.
Yeah. So let's have a look. Did you expect? Let's get back to that question. My question to both of you: how do you, one, plan to expand or grow? If you do, how do you plan to expand or grow? Do you feel like you're looking at bigger and better things in the future, or are you quite happy with what you're doing at the minute?
I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've had it. I've had it. So we've had 2 vans on the road, the wife in one, me and another lad in the other. And for the extra money we were making with that, it's just not worth it. By the time you've paid out wages and all the rest, I don't want it. I just want it nice. The reason I started window cleaning was because I wanted an easier life. Not because I wanted more hassle. And it's so easy to get wrapped up in it. And I think unless you've got a lot, I don't think you're going to make enough to make it worth it. And I want an easier life. I don't want a harder life.
Yeah, I put a video out a while ago just talking about sort of the people around me in my life, particularly people like my brother, who's very driven, he's very motivated, he's very business minded, and he's sort of saying, you need to do this now, you need to employ someone, you need to set them up with another van, you need to do this and this. And it's like I feel like for a lot of people, again, that is the expectation, is just to keep progressing to bigger and bigger things, employ people, more vans, and then it's like more overheads, more pressure. What if things, like I'm a worrier, like what if things go wrong and I've got all these people that I've got to pay, you know what I mean? And I've been chatting to H2O Restorations over in Bromsgrove, and he started about 8 years ago, and he's got a team of, I don't know how many employees he's got, but he's got about 6 vans on the road with trailers with full, brand new kit, pressure washing stuff. And that's pretty much all they do is pressure washing. And I just think, I don't even want to employ someone now, just in case, it gets to winter and things quieten down and I can't afford to pay them. And my brother's saying, just get them on a 0-hour contract or something and, set their expectations early. But I feel bad. I feel bad at taking someone on and then saying, sorry, the work's dried up,
I seem to have enough work coming in. I've turned down 2 or 3 jobs today, window cleaning. Well, I'm not turning them down, I'm recommending them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think if you've got that window cleaning round already set up, that's your, what do people call it? Bread and butter. That's your bread and butter.
Yeah.
And then,
well, I've sold 180 customers this year to other window cleaning, plus all the ones I've passed on since I sold them. I haven't taken any on since.
How does that work? How do you sell around? How do you sell customers? Because surely the customers are expecting you to turn up.
Yeah. What I did is, not everybody does it this way, but I thought it was the fairest way. I go around and put a letter round to all the customers. I mean, there's ones there that I've been doing since I first started, and you feel guilty. It's like you've seen the kids grow up, you've seen pets come and go, and do you know what I mean? Half of them will have you in for a cup of tea, and you feel guilty in a way, but there's only so much you can do. So what you do, you work out. I put a letter around to explain what's happening. Once I find somebody to take the work, you work out what the work that you're going to sell, the monthly value of it. And then the last lot I sold for 4 times the monthly value.
Right. So once they've cleaned for those customers 4 times, they're getting their money back.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, I feel like I I get a lot of quotes, especially from TikTok. I get a lot of people from all around the country asking me if I can come and do pressure washing work for them, and when I say I'm sorry, I don't really fancy travelling that far. It's like, well, do you know anyone else in my area that'll do it? And it's like, no, like I don't know anyone in Portsmouth. Actually, I probably do. Actually, to be fair, oh no, it's Bournemouth, isn't it? Bournemouth jet washing. But there's people all over the country, and I'd love to be able to pass on work to all these different people, but I just feel like I'd end up recommending people, and then it's my name on it then if they do a bad job, you know what I mean?
I've had people, because we've only got the vans, we haven't got a car, so we take the van on holiday. I've had people ring me up from Wales before now, from Haverfordwest, because that's where we were on holiday, asking if I can go around and do the windows, and well, I can, but you'll only get them done once a year.
Yeah. Speaking of the van, I've still got the wrong phone number on my van. I keep meaning to sort that out, but my broadband supplier cut off my phone number just after I got the van sign written, and just after I got all my business cards printed. Luckily on my business cards I've still got my mobile number, but the van has still got my local number on it that used to send them through to my mobile, but it doesn't do that anymore. It just goes nowhere.
Well, I think I mentioned on the live stream a few weeks ago, the first flyers I had, I put my mum and dad's phone number on without thinking.
I bet they were happy with you.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Do you know why the Cleaning Expo is not on this year? No, they're advertising for 2024, aren't they? The Cleaning Expo. Is it normally every year? Because I've only been to the one.
Yeah, he was doing it every year, and then he did it after COVID, and a lot came to it, and then he did it again the following year, and it wasn't as busy because I think people hadn't, because after COVID it was really busy because people hadn't been for a while, and I think the amount of work it takes to put that show on, it was just too much work for what he was getting back. So he thinks it would be more beneficial just to have it every 2 years. A lot of the cleaning shows are like that. There's a big one in Holland, and that's the same every 2 years.
Yeah.
I think he thinks it'll just be a lot more beneficial. People will be waiting for it rather than just, it's here again.
Are you going to be going in 2024 if all goes well?
Yeah, it should be. I normally do the video for him.
Oh, going around and filming everything?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
So he can use it for his promotional video for the next year.
Oh,
I don't know whether I will this time, but yeah.
I think I remember seeing Sid and Darren from PWS and a bunch of other people. They all got together. Yeah. They all got together and had a drink, I think. So that might be fun if you fancy meeting up for a drink somewhere.
There's normally Ashley McIntosh is normally there as well.
Yeah, I saw him.
And then there's also Tradman, who's traditional window cleaner, got quite a good YouTube channel. He's been with me a couple of times. He tends to stop with me if he's going. So he's from right up north. Yeah,
it'll be good to see some of the suppliers as well, because last year, was it last year or the year before that I went? I didn't really know anyone. I met the guys from Equip to Clean. I'd seen Darren from a lot of his live streams that he does on Facebook and stuff, so I recognised his face. Didn't know any of the guys from Pure Seal at the time, but now I've chatted to Chris a few times and been on the course and stuff. And then good to Vacuum Systems as well. They were there last time, weren't they?
Yeah, they had a big show. I remember the first time I went, they'd got like a little wallpaper and paste table almost, like the tables, little trestle tables out for the show. The first time I went, that was all they'd got, a couple of them, and like a little stall. But this year they got a purpose-made stand. It was huge.
I think PWS won that show just with the pickup truck they had with the mounted system in the back of the pickup truck. That was awesome.
Yeah. Everybody finds something different that they like.
Yeah. Hi Dave, can I buy pure water or do I need to buy a resin tank to get set up? Thanks, says Rob.
Yeah, there's a lot of places that will sell pure water. There is, I can't think what it's called. There's a big company that do it.
I think
But
if
there's
you,
all
I'm sure if you type into Google Maps pure water filling station, I'm sure there's loads dotted about. Is
yeah,
it-
there are.
Go on.
A lot of the bigger companies will sell it as well.
Is it expensive to fill up at one of them stations? Do you know?
No, not overly. It's I think it's about I can't. It depends. Again, it depends in your area on your area, but I think it's up to about 4p a litre.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? 100 litres, that's £4.
Aqua
So
says
that'd cost me 16 quid to go out and earn 300 quid pressure window cleaning for a day.
yeah. Aqua says spotless. Is that the one you were trying to think of?
That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah,
Yeah.
spotless water.
I struggle justifying filling stuff up with fuel, let alone filling stuff up with water and paying for it. The amount of fuel I get through is insane. Sid Partridge does lots of roof cleans, makes it look easy with 3 staff and steam.
Yeah.
Most of his videos are roof cleans at the minute, aren't they? He's definitely a grafter, and he's not a big guy either, really. But he's holding them 50-foot poles with the surface cleaner on the end. What are they called? The Mossmatics.
Yeah.
That must be an absolute killer on your arms.
But I think a lot of that is the pressure holds it up a lot, doesn't it? When he uses a nozzle on it, the pressure of the water coming down will hold it up.
Yeah,
and I've noticed that pressure washing gutters as well. Do you know what I mean? Once you get used to the balance of it, it gets a lot easier.
How are you finding pressure washing gutters? Because you switched recently from doing it with the water fed pole.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, so much easier.
You've not caused any damage yet, because that's my worry.
No. There's a couple of lads I know. There is, what's his name? Oh, my brain's gone to mush. There's a chap up in Scotland, and he was saying to me he's done over 100. Gordon G71. If you see him on, he's on Instagram a lot. He said he'd done over 100 last year, and he's never had a problem. There's another bloke called Jason from G-Force, Jason Duffield from G-Force. That's how they always do it, and that's what they do as their business: gutters and fascias and soffits.
Yeah, because I remember seeing a couple of posts on Facebook from people saying, people asking what sort of pressure are you using to pressure wash gutters, and then everyone in the comments was like, "Who's pressure washing gutters? Like, that's a silly idea." All this sort of stuff. But then I think I tried it once at a little bungalow, and it works so well. But I felt bad doing it because I thought, "Oh, you're not supposed to do this. Everyone thinks it's a terrible idea." But it's
obviously it's careful. Well, I think what I'm planning on doing at some stage, when I get time, is I'm going to build a little eaves. The way it's built, as I say, I came from construction, so I know how it's built. I'm going to build a little roof section coming down to the eaves with a fascia, a soffit, a gutter on it, tiles on the roof, and I'm going to pressure wash it with a GoPro inside it so you can actually see what it does.
That's a fantastic idea. If you got the time to do something like that, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's just time. I've got an ambulance to build.
Yeah. So are you still applying any chemicals to the gutters, or do you get like a good enough finish with just water?
You can get a good enough finish with just water. I know a lot do use that. As I said, G-Force, that's what they use. But I found using the Synergy Pro, just spraying that up with a brush and just giving it a bit of agitation just makes it so much easier. Again, do you know what I mean? You could get away without using it, but I found it even better if you did.
Yeah, I went from using TFR to Synergy about a couple of months ago when I first found out about Synergy, and it's so good. Like, it's not just the way it sort of foams when you're brushing it in, and the way it removes the dirt and stuff. It doesn't just remove the dirt by magic. You still got to agitate it and brush it in and stuff. But it's the rinsing afterwards that I found. It's so much easier to rinse all the soap off, and then you're left with like a beautiful streak-free. Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. You know, I was really struggling on a job last week where I was washing some gutters, fascias, and soffits. You know, underneath on the soffits, sometimes you've got the vents, and they're always filled with black muck. And I feel like, you know, once I've scrubbed everything and I'm rinsing it off with the brush, those vents are constantly dripping new black water out the bottom of them, and then you get all these dry black water stains along the bottom. How do you not do that?
Well, obviously you wouldn't pressure wash up into that.
No.
Again, you've got to be sensible with it. But what I do, I'll go around the whole house, and then I'll just get a microfiber cloth. I've got, I think it's from DA Components, a Maker. I think it's called a Maker sleeve, which basically is like a T-bar with. So you got like it goes onto a pole with a bar across the top with Velcro on it, and I either use that on a pole with a microfiber cloth stuck over it, or just stick a microfiber cloth over my brush. And once it's finished dripping, just wipe along it. So do the whole house, come back, and then it takes seconds just to wipe along it with a cloth on a brush.
That's what I need to do. Because I've been there for like 15 minutes sometimes, just trying to spray at the right angle with the water-fed pole and just do like a light mist to try and get the last of the spots off. And
you got to top it just right, because if you do it when it's too wet, your microfiber cloth just gets wet straight away and just smears it.
Yeah.
If you do it when it's too dry, you leave the marks there.
Yeah.
So it's just catching it at that point.
They're such a pain. It's horrible. What do you think about cleaning solar panels, Dave?
Yeah. Yeah, I like cleaning solar panels. I've been and looked at a job with 33 on them today.
Have you ever been electrocuted?
No, not personally.
Strange question. Because sorry. There's a little bit of a delay on the stream. Sorry, everyone. My friend does solar panel cleaning and pigeon proofing, so he goes around the edges and puts all the caging around the solar panels. And he says there's been times where he's had a shock here and there from the panels, and most of the time he asks the customer to like flick them off at the switch.
I always ask the customer to isolate them, but obviously that's isolating them from the house, so it doesn't feed back from anything that's already produced. But they're still producing. They can't turn them off so they don't produce. The only way you do that is make it dark. So you do have to be careful. I know Reach It are really expensive, Reach It stuff, but they do a carbon fiber sleeve to go, not carbon fiber, Kevlar, a Kevlar end section to go on your pole, which it doesn't conduct electricity. So that's one way of getting over it.
Yeah.
I've never been shocked yet. I did have a message from a window cleaner who he touched a cable with his pole, and he didn't know whether he actually touched it or it arced across to it. But his wife had to do CPR on him until the ambulance got there.
Wow.
But I mean, he's survived and he's back to cleaning now. But I've got to have a chat to him at some stage and get the full story.
Oh my God.
Fortunately, his wife was working with him, not working on his own.
Yeah, imagine if he was on his own.
That's I've recently bought myself an Apple Watch because of the fall detection on it. So if you're working on your own, if you fall, I had a customer that tripped over going into his property, and it set off his watch to ask him if he was all right.
Really?
Yeah. And another customer I've got was kicked by her horse, and she just passed out, and the watch called the ambulance because she didn't turn it off.
Wow, so you've got to like acknowledge it to say, yes, I'm fine, and if you don't acknowledge it, it'll do something about it.
Yeah.
I used to work for Lifeline, where I was fitting similar alarms for like vulnerable people, and
Yeah.
they had falls detectors, and the problem with those ones is they're constantly going off by mistake, and because when you're of that generation where you're struggling with your mobility and you're sort of hobbling around the house and you're up and down out your chair, but old people aren't very graceful when they sit down in their chairs, and so they sort of just fall back, and it thinks they're falling all the time, and they can't cancel it, and so it calls through to the emergency call center every time.
That is the good thing about the Apple Watch. You can cancel it. It asks you, "Are you all right?" And it asks you if you've fallen or whether it went off accidentally.
Yeah.
So you say, "Yes, I've fallen, but I'm all right," or "No, I didn't fall."
Yeah. John says hi. Hi, John. How you doing, mate? Darren says, with regards to the gutters, it's all about having the right pressure. I suppose you're turning the pressure all the way down on your unloader valve.
Well, I got a second because I started off using an old K4, Karcher K4 that I had, but then I bought a Kranzel, which a lot of car detailers use.
Is the K4 electric?
Yeah,
And how are you supplying that?
I normally just plug into the customers.
Yeah.
You know, when I go and price it, I'll say I'll need somewhere to plug in. A lot of folks have got outdoor sockets now.
And you've got one of those extendable lances, the high reach lances.
Yeah.
How do you get on with that? Because I tested one of those, or I bought one, and I ended up sending it back because it was so unruly. I pressed the trigger. It was a BE one, and I pressed the trigger, and the lance just bent up, flung me back. And of course, I had it on like max pressure and stuff because I wanted to test it, and I thought, "There's no way I can use this."
Yeah, you do when you first start off. You feel like you're battling it a bit. I did have an aluminium one from Equip to Clean, which was okay, did a good job, but they are a bit flexible. But I've just bought an OV8 one, so it's full carbon fibre, so it's a lot stiffer, a lot lighter. Yeah, and I find and it's getting used to it. The more jobs you do with it, the more you get used to it, and you get that balance point, and you can actually sort of lean it into the job almost, and so you haven't got the pressure on your arms then.
Yeah. Just going back to solar panels for a sec. What chemical are you using? Any chemicals on solar panels, or just pure water?
Yeah. The only thing I'll use on solar panels is biocide, but I always let the customer know that could void their warranty. A lot of solar panel companies say any chemical put on the solar panels will void the warranty. So you've just got to make the customer well aware of the fact that if you're putting anything on, if you're putting biocide on, you're not going to, it's up to them. The other thing is, quite often with lichen, whatever you call it, you won't get it off no matter how you scrub. Well, I can't anyway. I've been up on a tower and scrubbed and hot water and everything, and it doesn't come off. But in those cases, I like to give it a biocide wash, and even then, it can take up to a year for the weather to fetch it off.
Yeah, so that specifically the white lichen, the black spots aren't so bad, are they? The black and green spots aren't so bad. It's the white ones that tend to stay on the surface for a lot longer, even when you're doing chemical treatments and biocide and stuff. I think people underestimate that when they're doing roof cleans. If it's these big white patches everywhere, that's not going to go quickly. It might need multiple treatments across the course of the year.
You have to manage the customer's expectations.
Yeah, I reckon that's important with when it comes to exterior cleaning in every field. As long as you're setting the customer's expectations before you go. Like I had a job.
Under promise and over deliver.
Yes. Yeah, I had a job for a friend today, and he'd laid some new slabs. You know, there's the yellow sort of dipped council slabs that they're starting to put down now, and they've got the sort of dipped coating on the top. He had some probably about 2 or 3 years old, and then he'd laid some brand new ones, and the ones he'd laid looked older than the ones that were there before, and they were brand new. He just put them down. I said, mate, they've totally lost all their coating, and he was like really disappointed. He said, so they're not going to match then? I said, no, they look older than the ones you had before. And so as long as he was disappointed, but as long as he doesn't think I've done a bad job cleaning them, so that's why they don't match. Like if you tell him beforehand what they can expect, and obviously I suppose that comes with experience. If you can spot stuff that's going to be an issue before you start the job, I reckon that's mainly down to experience, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I always go to when I price up, say if I price up cleaning a gutter and soffit and fascia, I always say you might have watermarks on there that won't come off. They're just stained on. Manage their expectations. And the thing is, I think because we're so conscientious with our work, and because we're looking so closely when we do it, we spot every little detail. They come out and it's such a transformation. It's like, wow, I'm not bothered about the few little spots that are on it.
Yeah.
It looks much better.
I had that exact situation last week. Before the guy stepped out the door, I said, now look, I know they're not perfect. There's a couple of marks here that I'm not going to get off with chemicals. I can't get off with my brush. I've gone over them several times. They're not coming off. They're stained. And he said, oh, don't worry about that. They look fantastic. There's such a transformation from what it was before. So I think we're our own worst critics sometimes, but it's not a bad thing, I don't think.
No, not bad at all.
Let's have a look at some of these questions. Roof cleaning looks like roof cleaning plus free gutter cleaning and free window clean and free spray of the whole house. Yeah, that's a good point, to be fair. It's not just the roof, is it? It's everything else. If you genuinely got a lead in Portsmouth on 20 minutes, okay, Jack, thank you. I'll bear that in mind, mate. Thanks. You should sell jobs for a small charge. I feel a bit. I know people that do this, especially in the construction industry. Or if you're subcontracting things, they'll say, give them your price and stick another 40 quid on top for me or something. And it's a good idea, I suppose, if you've got a good relationship with someone that you're doing that for regularly. I think that's good, but I feel a bit weird trying to charge people for a potential lead that they might not even get. The
thing is, that's what I'm doing with my window cleaning leads. As a window cleaner that's trying to build his roundup, we agreed a price. He's happy to pay that, and it's it's not the price of what he'll get for the clean. So if he doesn't get everyone, it doesn't matter. He's soon going to make his money back.
Yeah. Dave, can you see the chat?
Yeah.
Are you all right if I just nip to the toilet? I'm desperate for a wee. I'll be back in a sec. If you're happy just going through a couple of them questions that I've missed, that'd be great.
Yeah. Unga do resin filters. Yeah, they do. Unga do. It's called the hydro system, I think it is. But the problem with that is you have to put bags in, and it comes in a sealed bag, so you have to buy those bags up from Unga. It's a good system and it works really well. I know Tradman up in Scotland, he uses one of those. He hasn't got an RO at all, but he uses one of those because their water quality is so good up there. I think it's 46 coming out the tap, where my water's 240, so wouldn't work the same. But yeah, they are good, but they're quite expensive. It's much cheaper to buy a DI bottle or even 2 DI bottles and do the double DI system rather than using the Unga Hydro and then just buy a 25 litre bag and fill it yourself. Just dry them at the end. Yeah. There's one for Jake.
Sorry about that.
Best inexpensive water-fed pole to get. Best inexpensive. Carl, I would recommend saving your money a little bit longer and buying a full carbon fibre. if you really can't stretch to the full carbon fiber, I would say probably the CLX from Gardner Pole Systems. That's the carbon composite. Slightly heavier, slightly more flexible, but it is a good pole. I started off with those, and then as I got more work, I went up to full carbon. But if you can stretch to the full carbon, then it will be a lot easier.
That's the one I've got, the CLX 22. First water-fed pole I've ever used, and the money I've made with that pole from doing various jobs, it's absolutely worth its weight in gold. But I've never used like a better one, so I don't know how much better they get. You know what I mean?
They do get a lot better.
So you've noticed the difference from upgrading?
Oh, yeah. With us, the more you spend, the lighter they get, but the stiffer they get. With them being stiffer, you get a lot less strain on your body as well.
You're not pushing so hard.
Well, you're still pushing it around, but you're not fighting against it. You haven't got that, as you're going across, you haven't got that whip in it. So, and it goes exactly where you put it.
Yeah, now that you mention that, I can imagine I'd probably get on much better with a stiffer. I don't know if it's such a problem with the weight, because mine's only the 22 foot at the minute, so weight isn't really such a problem for me. But I think definitely the stiffness. If I can stop that whipping, it might be time to upgrade soon. To be fair, what do you think? so many innuendos, so little time. Talking about stiff poles. If you were to start out again, it's such a difficult question, but would you buy cheap and get started as quickly as possible, or would you grind until you can finally afford that bit of kit that you need, that you want, the fancy carbon stuff? Would you start out with the cheap and cheerful stuff just to get your business going, or would you wait?
It's hard to say. Just before I answer that, I've just put a link on there on the chat for you, Carl. That's the link to the CLX 22 from Gardner.
Oh, you might not have permission in my chat to send links. I don't know if it would have appeared. And I don't know how to give you permission. Hang on.
I don't know if it's come up or not.
Yeah, I don't think it has.
All right.
Sorry.
You'll have to, if you just Google search Gardner Pole Systems and look for their telescopic poles. The CLX is the first one they do. But yeah. So I suppose it's hard to say in it, because now I know what you can get. It's hard, but when you're first starting out, it depends where you're coming from as well. If you've been made redundant and you've got a big wad of money that you can spend on investing, buy the best you can. If you're struggling to make ends meet already, buy a squeegee and a mop and, grind from the bottom. But it depends where you're starting from, doesn't it? I'm always a believer in buying the best you can.
I think that's what a lot of people forget when they're giving advice on the Facebook groups and stuff. People will ask, what should I get to do this? I'm just starting out, or what sort of equipment should I get for this? And people are recommending the best equipment. Just buy this. Buy cheap, buy twice. And I think people forget that, some people came into this industry because they've made all their money through their career, and they're just a bit bored and they're looking for something to do, and they've got all this money they've got 10 grand to buy a new van and all the equipment, and they want to get the best stuff. But not everyone comes from that position, and some people are working a full-time job, still struggling to make ends meet, and so they're looking for a way out, and they're looking to get a business started, and it's not always viable to be able to buy the best, most expensive stuff. But I think I try not to knock the cheap stuff too much. I mean, I've bought cheap stuff myself. I'm the sort of person, I'm very tight, and I don't like spending money that I don't need to spend. And if I can do it myself, I'll do it myself rather than pay someone else to do it. But there's a lot to be said for quality equipment. The difference.
I mean, I'm in a fortunate position now. A house is paid for. I've got a well-established business. Do you know what I mean? We've got no dependents, so I'm in a fortunate position that I can. And admittedly, I will quite often get discounts and things sent to me, which a lot of people don't. But yeah, when I started off, when I started off with a water-fed pole, the first pole I had was an 18-foot aluminium Harris decorators pole from B&Q, which was 15 quid, and it didn't fit. So you had to buy a Euro thread to go on the top, and you had to drill out the Harris decorators pole bit and glue in this Euro thread.
Nice.
Fit in.
I think I've got.
But when I started, there wasn't the amount of equipment available that there is now.
I've got a similar pole. I think I bought it from Screwfix because I had this idea that I was going to start window cleaning, and I'm just going to buy the cheapest equipment I can to get going. And that pole is now our washing line hook.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's perfect. What were you just talking about? So the stuff that you review on your channel, would you say the majority of that stuff is sent to you?
Not all of it. No, I buy a lot of stuff. I think people think YouTubers get a lot more stuff than we actually do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially to start with, I was buying a lot of stuff just to test, just to try and build up my channel.
Yeah.
I was fortunate to get onto YouTube to start with, because the first two videos I really put out, one was making my homemade making my homemade powered hose reel, which cost about 40 quid at the time.
I've not seen that. I'm gonna have to have a look at that. That sounds ace.
It was one of the very first videos, and there was a gap on YouTube. Nobody else had made one. So it took off really well. You know, I like making my own stuff. Like I said, I do like a project. And then the second one was fitting an immersion heater into me hot water tank. And that one, again, there was a gap in the market for it, so that went really well. But yeah, I mean, nowadays I do get sent more stuff, or get discounts on stuff more so. But a lot of the stuff I review, I do by myself. Use it.
Yeah. Are you still keeping an eye out for new stuff? Because I feel like, for me, once I've got a kit that I'm happy with, I feel like I don't need to keep looking. But I know a lot of people in the industry are always looking for the next upgrade, the next bigger and better thing, the next new gadget.
For years, I kept the same kit. I went to the CLX I found, because the decorator's pole had got a twist lock on them, I was getting tennis elbow, and it's tennis elbows apparently from twisting, and it was doing up the locks on the poles. So that's why I bought the CLX. And for years I used the CLX with just a narrow brush, and that worked. Why change it? But I was always stuck at I could never make more than £200 in the day. And then I started trying different things, and I started making more money. And by just changing just like a few things, like the size of your brush or the length of your pole or something like that. I was originally using 18-foot poles. I went to a 22-foot. I got an 18 and a 30, but I was spending half the day going back to the van to get the longer pole. So just by a slightly longer pole.
So you're saying it's being able to do just as good a job but quicker because you've got better equipment. You manage to earn more throughout the day. Yeah, be more efficient. Yeah. And what about new equipment to open up new services? How long did it take you to go from window cleaning to offering things like pressure washing and stuff?
Well, I offered pressure washing straight away, and I bought a cheap B&Q petrol pressure washer. and it was rubbish. and I just stopped offering it. I just couldn't, and I just thought I'd concentrate on the window cleaning. And I also bought a V-Tough gutter vac as well, and it got these really heavy aluminium poles. And that sat in the shed for years, and it wasn't until I got my Predator with carbon fibre poles I started using a gutter vac again.
I reckon that the poles must have changed a lot over the years, I bet.
Yeah, they were horrific. I mean, when I started, like the longer pole, I had a 30-foot pole from Ionics, and the bottom of it was about this round, and it weighed about half a ton.
Yeah.
The one lad that I had working with me, it used to make him cry when I told him he'd have to go and get it to do the top of the house. Told me I'd got a black heart. But it changes and stuff gets lighter and better. And
so what made you go back? And once you'd put that pressure washer away, the B&Q one, what made you get back into it?
I started getting asked to do more pressure washing jobs, so I was hiring one. The local hire shop did one for, I think it was £50 plus VAT, and it was a tenner plus VAT for a whirl away. So I started hiring it. I thought, maybe I do need to get into it. And then again, as I started aching more, I thought, I need to diversify more rather than just my shoulders were playing up. At one stage, I was thinking, what am I going to do? I can't carry on with my shoulders the way they are.
Yeah, because they're very. I bet you get asked all the time once you've finished cleaning windows and stuff for those other complementary services like gutters and pressure washing and stuff. It's very hard to say no. Sorry, do you know anyone that does it? It must be so hard to say no. Sorry, I can't do that for you.
What's even harder is turning up at a job and finding they've had something done that you offer.
Yeah.
That's even harder.
And you're a regular visitor to their property, and they didn't even think to ask you.
Well, I mean, that's why I got the pictures put on the van with the wrap, because as soon as I got it done, it practically paid for itself. I was turning up at customers' houses. I used to have a list of jobs that I did, pressure washing right at the top. I turned up at this job that I'd been doing for a couple of years, and the lady said, "Oh, now you're doing pressure washing. Would you mind doing my drive?"
Oh, wow.
I've always done pressure washing. Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it does make me think of sorting my sign right now. One, the number, and two, the list of services are slightly changed now, and I do need to update it. It's just not one of the. It's not on my priority list at the minute, but it should be. Darren says, "I adore the phantom poles."
Yeah, it's a good pole. I had one when they first came out.
Can you use hypo on solar panels?
I wouldn't.
No, hypo can do strange things to metals. It can make certain surfaces rust. It can react with certain metals, especially lead. And also, if you're using hypo on things like composite granite blocks, you don't know what that granite's been mixed with when it's been. Because my understanding is composite where they've mixed two materials together.
Yeah.
And if you've got bits of certain stones or bits of iron inside the granite, you're going to pull all that rust to the surface, and you're going to create a massive headache for yourself. So it's important when you're using hypo, especially overhead, if you've got any of that lead flashing going around the tops of windows and stuff, if your hypo drips down, it's gonna react with all that. And so, like Dave says, the best solution for solar panels is probably biocide, because it's much safer on most surfaces. It just doesn't give you instant results. That's the only problem. How much you want for water-fed pole then, Jake? I'll call dibs. Oh, when I upgrade. Yeah, mine's a little bit battered now. It's starting to rattle a little bit, but I reckon I'm going to ask you the same question, Dave. I reckon when it comes to like relatively inexpensive but absolutely invaluable piece of kit, I reckon the water-fed pole is probably one of them. What do you think?
Oh yeah. The most invaluable piece of kit that will cost you nothing is your pricing tool.
Mine. Oh, thanks, Dave.
I think the water-fed pole. That's something you've got to have. The univalve inside your water-fed pole.
What's this univalve? You've mentioned this a couple of times. I don't even know what it is.
Right, it's something that's about the size of that. And basically,
I used to work at Maplin. Got a little Maplin screwdriver. Is that?
It's a tap, and you pull your hose pipe, and it stops the water. You pull your hose again, your pole hose, and it starts it.
Ah, what's the difference with? Oh, okay. Because what I bought recently is like just a little switch, like a ball valve.
Yeah.
But I don't know where to put it, because obviously once you've extended your water-fed pole, the length of hose is different, isn't it? Where are you putting that univalve?
The univalve goes inside your pole.
Oh.
So it actually goes. So as you extend the pole, it just goes up the inside of the pole.
So which bit are you pulling to activate it?
Your hose, so you can put you use your pole exactly the same. You just pull your pole hose at the bottom.
Ah, that's interesting.
So I mean, I don't always pull it. Sometimes I'll just stand on the hose and lift the pole, and it'll work.
I'll have to have a look at that. How much is that?
They're about 40 quid now, but they're. I mean, when we first started, I went on a course at Ionics. When I very first started, I went on a course at Ionics for window cleaning and water-fed pole window cleaning. And as I said, Steve from Exceed, who makes them, who invented them, I was telling them it wasn't the univalve at the time. It was like 3 things before that. I was telling them how he'd come up with this system, and they said, "Oh, you don't need that. You just kink the hose." And I bet they wish they'd have listened now. Because just about every window cleaner there is has one now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you know this. You know the gardener backpack? Have you got one of those?
Yeah.
You know when say for example when it's running, when it's pumping, and you kink the hose, or if you turn a valve off or something, and that pump stops because of all the pressure, is that damaging the pump?
No, it's got a pressure switch on it, so it stops it.
So, okay. So if I were to put like an inline switch in, and the pump stops because the switch is turned on, the motor's still not trying to pump; it's just turned off. Okay. That was always the thing that stopped me fitting one of them little switches. How do you get on with the backpack? Are you using that much?
I don't use it very much. I've also got a constant flow, which is Ionic's way of doing it, which again I bought myself, which was really expensive. If you're thinking of getting something, get a backpack, don't get constant flow, because the constant flow is so expensive. But the way the constant flow works is it's like a canister, and it's pressurized as a little rechargeable battery unit that you put on it. So you pump it up to pressurize it, turn the battery pack on, and that keeps the pressure on it, and then it pushes the chemical out rather than pump it through a pump. So even if you're using hypo neat, it's not going through any pump, so you're not causing any damage to pumps and things like that.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
The reason I use that is when I've got all my gear stacked in the van, it's just smaller. It only holds 10 litres. So
right. Because for a while, that was also another investment for me that was like paid for itself within a couple of days, that gardener backpack, because I wasn't only using it for like applying TFR and degreaser and stuff to the gutters, fascias and soffits and conservatories, all that sort of stuff, but I was using it to apply hypo and biocide as well. and I think I don't think it's good for the pump, but I think if you're cleaning it out after every use and not letting any chemicals sit in it overnight and stuff like that, mine's been going for over a year now.
And you DA components sell replacement pumps for them as well.
And I'm sure there's a video floating about where you can upgrade the seals or something to Viton seals.
I think you can, yeah.
So that might be.
Well, if I think the pumps that DA components sell are chemical pumps.
Okay. Are you using the XJet at the minute, or have you got another alternative to applying hypo?
Yeah, I got the XJet.
How are you finding it?
Well, I like it. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I've got the XJet, and I got the. They actually sent me the Equipped to Clean one as well. But the trouble with the Equipped to Clean one, you've got 1 to 6 and 1 to 9 or something like that. So it's not always strong enough.
I thought that was a strange ratio. And does that work the same way, where you put a fitting inside?
No, you can't change it. You just pull that. It's been a while since I've used it. I think you pull the body forward or back to change the ratio.
Okay. Because I was looking at those because they're a bit cheaper, aren't they? And I think
the XJet, and then you've got a lot more. You can change it a lot more.
And then Rutland pumps do that foam cannon as well, don't they?
I saw that. I don't know what they're like.
I think someone in my Discord bought one the other day. I haven't tried it yet, but I think that's cheaper than the XJet as well. I'm not sure. Dave, would you recommend doing the Pure Seal courses before adding pressure washing services?
I think I would, yeah. I think, personally, if I don't know how to do something, I'd rather get some training, because you can pick up. YouTube's great, and we all try and teach people as much as we can, but you can pick up bad habits. There's no... what's the word? It's not regulated, YouTube, is there?
No.
So you could be watching something and somebody could be telling you completely the wrong thing, and that's what you learn, and that's what you think done is right. But it is actually a legal requirement to have training if you're doing soft washing.
Really?
Yeah, apparently it's a legal requirement to have some training before you do soft washing. What that training is, but that's apparently on the HSE website.
I'm not surprised, because the sort of chemicals we're working with, like the fact that you can't apply a weed killer without a license. Some of the stuff we're using seems like it's a lot nastier than weed killer.
Yeah. And it depends on who's teaching the course as well, because you get different things from different courses. But yeah, I think the Pure Seal one was really good. I enjoyed it. I thought about doing their module 2. I do like a nice course.
What you said about YouTube being unregulated, that's the bit that I get a bit nervous about, to be fair, because the advice that I'm trying to help new starters with is stuff that I've just picked up. And like you say, if you pick up a bad habit and then you're teaching that bad habit to all these other people, that's why I try and caveat everything I say by telling people, look, I've only been doing this for about 2 years now, and this is just my experience. This is the stuff I've learned.
One of my most popular videos was how to change an RO membrane. And it was one of my most popular videos. And then I got a phone call the one day from Lee from Blade Right saying, Dave, you put that membrane in wrong. Although it worked, there was a chance of the way I pushed it in, you could have folded the seals back. So, and that was one of my most popular videos. So I took that off straight away. Yeah. And I'm planning on making another one. But it's, you don't know, do you, until somebody with more knowledge than you. So I'm happy to learn. I don't know everything by any means. There's a lot of people with a lot more experience than me in this trade. It's just I'm happy to stand in front of a camera.
Yeah, and I think as long as you keep that attitude of I'm always learning. I'm always ready to learn. Not necessarily be proven wrong, but ready for someone else to teach me something. And you've always got that open-mindedness. You can't really go wrong, because as soon as you get to the point where you think you know everything,
you know nothing.
You know nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Every day's a school day.
Yeah. Just my 2 cents on that. I'd recommend the Pure Seal course as well. Did you get your module 1 book to bring home?
Well, yeah, when we got the module 1 book when we did the course.
Yeah. That book alone is just an absolute wealth of information that you can just keep referring to. So on top of this, on top of the stuff that you're learning on the course, you're also bringing it all home with you in more detail. And so when I'm quoting ceiling jobs and stuff, there we go.
Yeah, and it's packed.
Yeah. When you're quoting ceiling jobs, it's so useful just to think, oh, what sealer goes with this surface again? Like what's safe? What chemicals are safe to use on this surface again? And you just quickly flick through the book and you got your answer right there. And I feel like if I didn't have that knowledge now, I could be making so many mistakes and not realizing.
Did you have a little USB thing as well when you did it?
Yeah, I've not opened that up yet.
It's got assessments and method statements and things like that on it as well, I think.
Yeah. I've been thinking that it might be useful to put something in writing for my customers for each job. Say, for example, gutter clearing or gutter cleaning, or pressure washing certain surfaces and stuff. If I just got like a write-up of here's the risks, here's what to expect, how long to expect it to last, because people ask about will it keep the weeds away, and it's like, no, nothing's going to keep the weeds away ever. And
if you think about it, when you pressure wash weeds, you're pruning them and you're watering them.
Yeah.
So you're encouraging them to grow.
Yeah. And so all these like frequently asked questions, rather than having to sort of tell each customer in the quoting process over and over again, I'm wondering if I should write something out and just give it to them. If it's a pressure washing job, here you go, have a quick read of this, make sure you're happy, and then accept the quote, sort of thing. The Jet Wash Master says, I started with a 30-foot aluminium pole, back breaking. Now I've got a 25 SLX game changer.
Yeah, I feel your part.
I'm gonna have to have another look at them poles, I think, just to see what's in my budget, what I can justify at the moment.
We'll have to meet up and I'll show you. I've got a selection of poles and you can have a play and see what you want to try.
Dave wants to meet up and he's going to show me his poles. Oh, you're only down the road, aren't you? You're in Kidderminster.
Yeah, we'll meet in a lay-by.
Yeah. What's the average price for gutter cleaning?
It depends on your area.
And also, gutter cleaning and gutter clearing are obviously two different services, and I've always got to try and distinguish with the customer which one they're after or whether they're after both.
Mm.
Do you find you're charging more to clean gutters out or wash the externals of the gutters?
I just aim for both.
Do you?
£5 a metre. Yeah, £5 a metre for both, and then I'll drop it a little bit if they have both.
Do you do many conservatories?
A few, yeah.
I think I underestimated conservatories when I first started doing it. I thought, now I've got my water-fed pole with the brush. I can start cleaning conservatories, and using the synergy and stuff on them works really well. But they take so much more rinsing than I expected.
Plug it into the customer's tap. Yeah, and then you've got a really good flow and you rinse it off really quick.
Yeah, but what I've found is where the panels join, and you've got that bit of plastic that joins two panels, the muck that you could be rinsing it all day, and I reckon you'd still find some muck underneath them. That was the hardest bit for me, and also access when it comes to awkward areas, particularly conservatories when you're clearing the gutters out. If they butt up against like the neighbour's fence or something, it's so difficult to get round and get your poles in. And how do you find that?
I've just bought. Well, there's two things I've got recently. There's a mobile tower, so I can whack that up. I use it especially for solar panels to get the height. So a mobile tower, and so you can, you don't have to put it up full height. So that just gives you a bit of extra height with a safe working platform. And I've just bought, rather than like your 135 degree gooseneck for your gutter vac, I've just bought a 90 degree one. So you can put it straight out in front of you and it's still sucking straight down.
Yeah, I've seen those. I could do with one of those.
My brother says the best one he's got is a straight one. And then it protects the end of your pole and you can just push it along the gutter.
Yeah, I've needed that a couple of times as well. I've ended up just taking the end off, taking the U-bend off altogether and just sliding the poles down. How long is it taking you to put the mobile tower up?
Oh, it doesn't take long. It's fairly easy. It's a really lightweight one. It doesn't take long. It's not like the My Tower where it's a one-man setup, but you can set it up by yourself.
Yeah, I had to go on one of those My Towers when I was cleaning a roof with a lad from Birmingham who got in touch to see if I wanted to come and help him on a roof, and that was interesting watching how to do it properly with using a spirit level and adjusting the casters on the wheels and pulling the arms out to make sure it's safe. They do take up a lot of room in the van though, that's the only thing. I made one of those electric reels from the guide. Still use it today. Alex says he made one of your electric reels.
Yeah, there's quite a few made then.
No way.
The problem now is I used to have a list of all the bits you needed, but some of the bits got so hard to get, I took it all off now. I think it's the sprockets that you have trouble getting now. I think my brother's made one recently, so you can still get the stuff. But there's quite a few made then. Then I made Insane Bolt as well.
Insane Bolt?
I made the fastest 24 volt powered hose reel and tried to get the fastest hose reel for 100 meters.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Dave, that is so creative.
Have a look for that video. And I made with that one, I made the whole frame and everything.
For 100 meters as well. That's what a genius name that is. Insane Bolt.
Thing out on Instagram asking folks to name it.
That's so good. Where's the best place to get the X-Jet from? I'm looking to get one, and I've seen so many different prices. I got mine from Rutland Pumps. I think AC Pressure Washers sell them. I'm sure Darren at PWS probably sells them. Do you know anyone anywhere else, Dave?
I got mine from Rutland Pumps.
Does anyone offer a roof cleaning course? I believe Pure Seal will be offering a roof cleaning course. I think Module 2 is like...
Module 3 it's going to be, I think, isn't it?
Is it? I think Module 2 is render.
Yeah, it's Module 2's like the vertical surfaces.
Yeah.
And then I think Module 3 is going to be the roofs.
Yeah. Dave, don't you fancy selling me a half decent water-fed pole setup, please? Do you get that a lot with people asking for your old equipment?
Yeah, I do get that a lot.
Every time you upgrade, you get about 6 DMs.
Yeah.
Dave, I think you should raffle off your old van.
Spencer.
What is your plan with your other vans once you get the ambulance going?
I'm going to keep, well, like I said, we haven't got a car. So the one van is the dog van.
Yeah.
The van I'm using at the moment, I'll just use for windows because I've got 2 or 3 days a week regular window cleaning, and it's smaller. So, and then the ambulance will be the exterior cleaning vehicle, because the time it will save me just loading it up, it'll be worth keeping it for that.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future, I don't know. The trouble is, I've just had them wrapped as well. We did talk about turning one of them into a camper. So maybe in the future, that's what will happen with one of the vans.
That would be cool. No doubt you'll be getting a fire engine or something next and turning that into a camper.
Wouldn't need a pump, would I?
Can we talk about advertising for a bit? So, when I was a couple of live streams ago, I think it was you that was still a big advocate for dropping leaflets.
No, I don't know. I don't drop leaflets.
No, you did. Isn't that how you got started, though?
I did to start with. Well, canvassing to start with.
Yeah.
Knocking on the door. Yeah.
And would you still recommend that to someone who's just started out?
Yeah, I think it's a good way to get started. The thing I've noticed with canvassing and knocking on doors, I reckon after your first clean, you'll lose 40% of your customers. They'll have it once and then they won't have it again.
Really?
I reckon after 6 months to a year, you'll probably lose, I don't know, another 30%. And then, so what's that like? That leaves you like 30% left in it. Those you'll keep forever, and they'll be good loyal customers.
Those are the ones you want, I suppose. The ones that pay well, they pay on time. Do you find that you've had many issues with people paying?
Occasionally, but it's just a matter of not giving them the opportunity to not pay, is it? What I'm going to do as well is I'm thinking of going over to Stripe with the software that I use, which is called SQUEAKY Planner. You can integrate it with Stripe, so you do the job, you press done, and that sends them the bill. It's got a link for a quick payment. They can pay, straight on the phone there. You can make it work the same sort of way as go cardless. So if they put their details in, you can just press it, you're done, and it will claim the money off them. They don't even have to do anything then, if they agree to that. And then that, if they don't pay it, Stripe starts sending out reminders. So and also, once they've paid, it'll automatically mark it down as paid on the software. So you're not having to go through all your bank statements to see if you're paid or not.
That's a good idea. Are you still taking cash? I suppose a lot of people are quite tempted to pay you in cash. Which do you find better, cash or card, or bank transfer or whatever?
Bank transfers are good. So you don't have to take it to the bank or anything, or bank transfers are good. But then you've got to start looking through all your bank statements to see who's paid and who hasn't. Cash, You've got the money there and then, but everything goes through the books with me anyway. So then you've got to put it into the bank, sort of thing.
Yeah, same. And I think a lot of people think they're doing you a favour by paying you in cash, and so they assume they're going to get the service a bit cheaper as well. But what I try and explain to them is, if you give me cash, it means I've got to drive up to the Halifax in town, put the money in, and then move that money from the Halifax to my business account, because I don't know how it works. I think I could probably put it into the post office straight into my business account. But either way, it's just more effort for me, and there's no.
So you can only pay so much into the post office in cash now as well.
Oh, really? And then
on the account I've got.
And then there's no reference. So when I'm doing my accounting at the end of the month, like, I don't know where that cash has come from. I don't know which jobs I did to earn that cash. And naturally, if I've got cash in my pocket, I'm going to spend it. So I just try not to take any cash at the minute. And like yourself, like I'm declaring everything, because we're remortgaging next year, and I need to, especially within this first couple of years, I need to show the banks that I'm actually earning enough to be able to get a mortgage and stuff. I think people forget about that when they start their business, and they think, "Oh, I'm gonna take it all in cash, so I don't have to give all my money to the tax man." But you're not building credit. The banks aren't going to trust you. So when it gets to the point where you need a loan or you get a mortgage or something, you're really shooting yourself in the foot. So that's another thing. I think my advice to people would just, it sucks giving 20% to the tax man, but it's going to set you up with some good habits going forward for the future. Let's have a look. I see most people pressure wash roofs now, whereas they used to scrape them. I've always been nervous when it comes to, like, every time I've thought about offering roof cleaning. There's two sides of the coin. I think if you're climbing all over roofs to scrape them, you're going to end up damaging tiles, and if you're pressure washing roofs, there's chances of leaks.
You should be able to scrape a roof without climbing it as well. There's not many that you can't.
Yeah. Then the other side to that is it's not the most efficient way to clean a roof, is it? It's such hard work.
Hard work. I wouldn't want to pressure wash it though.
No, true. It causes
you have to do what you're comfortable with.
Say that again.
You have to do what you're comfortable yourself with doing.
Yeah.
If you're not comfortable doing it, then don't do it, because you'll do a bad job of it.
Yeah. Gary says, "Hi guys, looking at starting up, but I live in Northamptonshire. Ashley McIntosh is here too. Would this put you off, as there's a few people doing pressure washing in my area?"
The thing is, if there's already people doing it, it's because there's a need.
Yeah, I don't think anyone should be too concerned about local competition. Like, it's a weird thing when it comes to people like ice cream vans and window cleaners, and there seems to be this old-fashioned thing about territory and stuff, and I feel like that's never even crossed my mind.
In the 16 years I've had it once.
Really?
It used to be a thing. I don't think it is anymore.
There's a guy in my street that offers pressure washing, and like I don't think he's going to steal my work. We're two different businesses. We're probably advertising in two totally different ways, so his customers would probably never end up being my customers, regardless of whether he was there or not.
The thing is, if you talk to them and you get on with like the others doing the same trade, they're busy. They call you in to give you a hand with a job, and it works both ways. When you're really busy, you can go, "Oh, do you fancy coming and give us a hand for a couple of days?"
I think people's natural instinct is to be hostile towards any sort of competition, but I think if you can try and build up other people around you and try and help out, and that's how I got in touch with H2O Restorations in Bromsgrove, the people that built my pressure washer. I sent them some work because I said I'm a bit busy at the minute. I'm not going to be able to fit this one in. They want it doing soon. And then I sent them a roof clean, and then I sent them one that was over in Birmingham that I couldn't get to. And that's how we started chatting, because I was sending them work. And like I weren't bothered that they're a competitor in my area. Like, it doesn't make a difference to me. They're not stealing my work. I'm just starting out, so I've been doing flyers in a few areas to see if it will get me a few jobs. I think I had a chat with my accountant recently, and he totally switched my perspective when it came to flyers, because I thought, it's old. It's an old way of doing business, going around. It's a lot of time taken out of your day going around posting flyers through people's doors and stuff. It's all about social media now and building a presence online. And he said, "Yeah, but what about what about all your customers, all your potential customers that aren't online? All those, there's an area near me called Barnt Green, and it's such a wealthy area, and it's all people who are above a certain age that probably aren't involved with technology and computers and stuff, and they're never going to see me. They are never going to see me. And so those would be the ideal customers or potential customers where you'd want to stick a leaflet through the door. I don't think you'd be wasting your time by going around an area like that and putting a few leaflets through the doors.
The thing is, I've found, especially with canvassing, I found it, like there's a few roads here which are, you know, sort of millionaires row. I think, oh, great to get a load of customers there. But they're already nice, big, posh houses. They've already got somebody doing it. They've got the money. So I find you're better off and make more money. Well, with the window cleaning, I don't know about with the pressure washing, but the estates where you've got lots of houses all close together, you can get around a lot more of them quickly. They might be smaller jobs, but I always used to pick a lot more jobs up in those sort of places, and you can earn a lot of money on a lot of small jobs if you keep going. Then like one or two big jobs.
Yeah. Do you find that it's a struggle to try and I suppose you're not taking on new customers now with window cleaning, but when you were, was it difficult trying to manage and making sure you're hitting all the houses within a certain area on the same day, rather than traveling here, there, and everywhere to go to different sides of town?
Yeah, you do need to organise it, and I mean that's another of the good things about SQUEAKY. You can organise it into rounds, so you know all your ones in this area show up red, all the ones in this area show up blue on this round, all the ones on this round show up green, and it makes it easy to group them all together then. And sometimes, quite often, if I get a new customer, I'll say to them, right, I'll do you straight away, but instead of being 4 weeks, it might be 6 weeks before I come again. Just this first time, while I get you in with the rest of the round.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I was struggling to manage that when it came to pressure washing. Like one day I'd be in the centre of Birmingham. The next day I'd be in my town, and then I'd get an inquiry midweek to go back to the centre of Birmingham again. I thought, oh God, if I'd have just had that, a day earlier, I could have grouped them together. And I'm spending fuel getting there. I'm also paying they've got these new charges to go into the centre of Birmingham now, with the clean air zones and stuff. So I'm paying £8 a time to go there, and it's difficult to manage sometimes.
The thing is, as you get busier, I'm booking my work in like 3 or 4 weeks in advance now. So when I get a new customer, I say it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks before I can get to you. Then if I've got somebody else that turns up in their area, I'll work out how to get to them, and do the two in the same area.
Do you ever struggle at all with a window cleaning round when it's like peak pressure washing season and you're getting all the pressure washing inquiries? Do you find that you're struggling to fit everything in?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have cut the pressure washing right back, so I've got a couple of days a week spare when I can fit in extra jobs. And I'm just hoping the missus got a list of jobs for me to do, so she's hoping I'll go quiet during the winter. Yeah. So I can get more jobs done at home, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Because I always admire these people that are offering, like I did in my recent video today, these people that are offering multiple services, whether it's window cleaning, pressure washing, gutter cleaning, and then also things like landscaping or hedge trimming or garden maintenance and stuff. I don't know how these people do it.
Yeah. Yes, I try and do 2 days a week windows. I try and work 4 days a week. I do 2 days a week windows, and then 2 days a week on what I call the extras.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. And you, I suppose, once you've got a set round and you've got some experience doing that round, you know how much time you've got spare.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're just starting out, it's sort of all up in the air, and it trying to organise yourself.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Long term, you retain about 3 out of 10 from canvassing customers, but you
Yeah,
get a lot
totally
of work quickly.
Yeah.
That's
And
interesting. So
what we used to do is my wife would go canvassing, and they quite like that you got a lady with you. A lot of people feel safer. So my wife would go canvassing, and then we'd do it straight away, especially when we didn't have a lot of work. And then if they cancel, then at least you've had one clean out of them.
yeah,
Do it while I was working. Well, we'd get a job in a certain street. She'd cancel the rest of the street, and we were able to build up a good round like that.
and so you're not just you're not posting a leaflet through the door. You're actually knocking the door and having a conversation.
Look, I think me and my wife sell ourselves quite well when we talk to people.
Yeah,
And a lot of the time, it's meeting you and actually putting a face to it. It's a lot harder to say look in somebody's eye and say no than I mean, half the time I don't look at the leaflets that come through my door.
nor me. How did you find? I think for me, I'd find it quite awkward to go around knocking people's door and feeling as if I'm disturbing them and they don't want to talk to me. Did that ever bother you?
Nah, gotta make a living somewhere.
They're always quite happy to talk to you. Did you ever get the door slammed in your face?
Yeah, no. I mean, one or two don't answer or whatever, but no, it doesn't bother me.
Fair enough. Dave, Stripe works well with SQUEAKY. Some customers do sign up for the automatic payments. I use Go Cardless, backs, check and cash. I prefer not to take the cash, as Jake has explained. Check, these days, checks actually work quite well for me, to be fair. Especially for like the bigger jobs where it's like an old lady. She's only got checks and it's like 400 or 500 quid. I can scan it on my phone, like most banking apps now. You can scan the check on your phone. The money goes straight in as pending, and then within a day or two, it lets you know whether it's cleared. And that works quite well with the older generation.
I've got 2 or 3 that still pay with a check. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, 2 of them are in what we call the millionaires row, and they still pay with check.
Oh, really? Cheers, guys. I follow Ashley. He's offered loads of services. Yeah, I don't think you should put off just because you've got, a YouTuber in your area that's doing work as well. I think I always say to people, there's plenty of money around. There's plenty of work available for people to start earning a living themselves. You don't need to be put off by the amount of competition that's in the area. Obviously, things get saturated. Certain times a year, you get all these new businesses cropping up in February or March. But it's up to you to remain consistent, set your expectations, and don't expect the phone to start ringing off the hook as soon as you start your business, because it just doesn't work like that. Well, it didn't in my experience anyway. If it makes everyone feel better, I had a flat tyre to start the day. Ended up getting 2 new tyres, 185 quid. Lost a day's work, but caught up on the admin. Always worth being productive on a lost day. Yeah, there's always admin to do. Always. How are you finding maintaining three vans now, Dave? I bet that's tax and insurance and MOTs and...
Tax goes out automatically, direct debit. Insurance goes out monthly as well. The first, I had paid up yearly for the first, but then with the ambulance as well, it's going out monthly now. So it just goes out to the business account.
You ever have any big bills in terms of maintenance and stuff? I feel like we're so unlucky with cars and things. I'm constantly having to pay 500 or 600 quid for a clutch or for brakes or something.
Sam's van, my wife Sam, her van, I jumped in it the one day. I got 100 yards up the road and he went clunk and stopped, and the cam chain had broken. And apparently it can be a thing with Renault Trafics. They got a cam chain, but the oiler for it packs up at about 80,000 mile. So I took it in, had a reconditioned engine put in it, which was supposed to be $2,500. But then they couldn't get the injectors out, so they had to drill all the injectors out and put all new injectors in. So that ended up costing me $4,000.
Oh, I've just had a new injector for Sophie's new car. One injector was £575, including the labour.
Out of 4.
Insane. Yeah, I have such bad luck with vehicles. I spend so much money on cars and stuff. I couldn't imagine running 3 vans.
I don't let it bother me.
Yeah, I suppose if you let all that creep in, your life can get pretty stressful pretty quickly. How do you deal with customers that try to haggle or want a quote right there and then question the price? Things like, I could do that myself for a fraction of the cost.
Go on then.
I tend not to quote on the doorstep, to be honest, because it puts more pressure on me. I feel rushed. I feel that then I'm almost plucking a price out of thin air, even though I know what's involved. I can price per square meter and all that sort of stuff, but there is still other things to account, especially when it comes to pressure washing. It's probably a little bit easier with gutters and windows. But then when you're pulling that price out, I feel like it naturally gives them an opportunity to then go into, what about cash? Or what if I wanted this doing instead? Can you drop the price a little bit? Do you not think?
I say to them, well, this is my price. If I dropped it for you, and it wouldn't be fair on your next door neighbour. If you can do it cheaper yourself, carry on, because those people aren't the sort of people that you want.
No.
Those are the ones that you're going to struggle getting the money off. Let them go. You don't worry about winning every job. You don't need every single job.
Preach. Those customers that you want returning every year and paying on time and paying well, they're not the ones that are haggling with you.
No.
Do you, with pressure washing work, do you tend to be confident enough to give the price there and then, or do you go away and have a think about it?
Go away and have a think about it.
Yeah.
Unless it's something small. If it's something small, I always go and measure it with my wheel. I work out what it's going to be. If it's just like a small slab patio, then I measure it up, know what it's going to be, so much a metre, so many metres, and I can give them a price for that there and then. But if it's a bit bigger and a bit more complicated, I'll go away and I'll send them the message in. There's a big one I've got to go and give a price for, and I was asking you about it the other week on the live stream. It's Chinese limestone. So I really had to think about that, how to do it. Not using any hypo and not using a turbo nozzle or a flat surface cleaner. And
I got criticised. I got criticised a little bit from the one video when I said, you want to go away and have a think about it, have a cup of tea, sit down and price it all up properly, because they think, well, if you're a professional and you know your services, then you should be able to give a price on the spot. And I think there's so many factors when it comes to exterior cleaning. It's not that easy, especially when it comes to having to be very cautious of which chemicals you're using and stuff.
Maybe less so with like domestic customers, but I've won jobs. I won a school, and 2 schools actually, and I wasn't the cheapest. But with Squeegee, you can do a quote on it, and it comes over looking very professional. I'd itemised all the different bits and priced it all separately. I did it all on Squeegee before I even left. I'd left the school. I'd put it all on, press send. I got the job because it looked professional. I also send, especially when I'm doing a commercial job, I always send a copy of my public liability, and I send a standard risk assessment and method statement saying this is an idea of our risk assessment and method statements. If I win the contract, you can get the full rams then. And that wins you a lot of jobs as well, because they look at it and they think, this bloke's professional. He knows what he's doing. We're not going to be calling him back for health and safety issues, and because they know you're thinking about it.
that's a great idea when it comes to putting out like a generic risk assessment, because they can see that you've got the documents when needed, but also you're not spending time doing a specific risk assessment for that specific job at that specific school, only to then not win the work.
You could spend hours doing it and not win anything. So if you send them, like you say, a generic one, they know that you're thinking about it and that you will do a site-specific one when it's needed.
That's a really good idea, because that was one of the things that put me off commercial work and working for schools and stuff, because there's so much paperwork involved and health and safety. And I was doing gutters for a school, and they mentioned, you're not going to be able to use a ladder or anything like that. I said, well, this was the first school I'd ever done gutters on, and I said, look, if I'm vacuuming out these gutters, I can't get up there to check my work if you're not going to let me use a ladder. And the camera that I had at the time, I'd bashed it off the wall. I'd bashed the pole off the wall, and the camera arm snapped. The GoPro snapped off, smashed to pieces on the floor. I was like, oh, great. So I can't even film the work that I'm doing. Like, this is a disaster. And I still had quite a bit left to do at that point. But there's so many hurdles you've got to jump through just to be able to get your foot through the door at a school, let alone like DBS checks and all that sort of stuff, let alone to even start the work. And so to me, for a good period of time, I thought, this stuff ain't worth it. This commercial cleaning schools, gutters, it really ain't worth it for me. I'd rather stick with the residential stuff. But what do you think? Are you offering sort of whatever comes your way?
When I first started, I started in 2007, and I knew a chap there, and he was doing everything. And like they were building a lot of these like little trading estates where the screw fix and this and that are on it. And he was hiring floor scrubbers and all sorts. And it came to the end of the job. This is when the recession hit in 2007, and they owed him, say, 10 grand. They said, what's your final settlement? It's 10 grand. And he said, oh, well, no, we've made a loss on this. You're going to have to make a loss on it. He said, well, I've got all these signed worksheets saying, do this extra work. Oh, well, he doesn't work for us anymore. So when me and Sam started, we said, right, and he ended up losing about $1,000, I think. We said, right, we're only taking on domestic work. And that we did for years. And now I take on a few commercial jobs. I've got 2 schools to do next week. But I wouldn't, now I'm by myself sort of thing. Sam is coming out and giving me the odd half a day's help nowadays, building up slowly. But I wouldn't want to take on loads of big jobs now.
It could almost take over the business. If you're doing regular maintenance cleans for these big commercial places, you could end up essentially feeling as if you're employed by these big businesses.
Yeah.
If you
it
clean
depends what you want to do. Depends the way you want. I mean, if you want to grow your business, then you've got to remember with the commercial jobs as well, there's usually a lot more paperwork. I did a video where I did a big cladding clean on a factory. I mean, I earned good money on it, but I think their payment schedule worked out at 60 days. But they only pay out on a certain day, and if your invoice goes in, it ended up closer to 90 days before you got paid. I had 2 lads on it with me, so I'd paid them. I'd paid for equipment to do it. Do you know what I mean? So after 90 days, I'm starting to think, am I going to get paid for this?
That's exactly my experience, and it's a big chunk of money you're waiting on as well. And even though my terms are at the bottom of the invoices and at the bottom of the quotes and stuff, they don't care. They'll pay you when they're ready to pay you, because they've got their payment schedules for all their employees and their staff and whatever. And when I put the guy said to me in one of these schools, he says, yeah, send me your invoice and we'll get you paid up straight away. I was like, sweet, okay, thanks. Thanks for turning it around so quickly. That's awesome. And then I sent my invoice. Didn't hear nothing for a week. I thought, let's just leave it another week and see what happens. Didn't hear nothing for another week. I was like, okay. I phoned them up, and they said, "Oh, he's on holiday. He's on holiday for 3 weeks. Do you want to send your invoice back into me and I'll get it paid as soon as the payment schedule comes around?" I said, "Oh, when's the payment schedule?" And they said it's the end of the month, every 30 days. So I've got to wait another. At the time, it was like another 24 days to be able to get paid. So in total, it should have been a day or two, and it ended up being over a month. I couldn't believe it. I was gutted because, again, you've got this quite large initial outlay. You've got all your fuel. You've got the lads with you that you've already paid, because some people would say like, "Sorry, mate, I've not been paid for this yet, so I can't pay you." But I can't do that. I pay people on the same day when they're working for me. But yeah, it's not these big commercial jobs sometimes aren't all they crack up to be. I suppose once you've got a routine in place and once you've done a bunch of them, then they get a bit quicker, and especially when it comes to hiring stuff and getting stuff in place. Have we got any more questions? Have you spotted anything you want to talk about, Dave?
The van wrap. I'm going to have to wrap it up in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, same.
The van wrap the first one was 1,700. And then the second one, although it was only about 3 or 4 months after, was 1,800, but everything's going up. Well, crystal clean windows. You got your wife, 4 kids and your wife working with you.
Wow.
Yeah. Fair play.
That's great to keep it in the family, isn't it? Proper family business, that is.
Yeah.
I'd love to get my son involved. I keep wanting to get him doing little bits here and there, but he's just a bit small at the minute. He's only 8, and he's just not quite ready to be lifting stuff. And I want to see what he's like with the pressure washer, but I feel like it'll blow his head off.
Yeah.
Do you want to leave it there, Dave? Are you happy?
I'm going to have to, I think. I'm just looking through. Yeah, crystal clean. Yeah, quoting is the hardest part. What I've tried to do is work out a system so it's the same. So if you're doing gutters, so much a meter. If you're doing pressure washing, so much a meter. If you're doing windows, I still count up windows, so much a window.
You can't really go wrong with it, and I suppose the bigger the area, you give them a slight discount. And I still haven't quite nailed down my prices for each surface. And
with commercial jobs, what I tend to do is work out what it will be. This is a good tip that me brother gave me. Work out what it's going to be, and then add another 50% on it.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
It's working. And if you don't, I mean, I'm fortunate because I don't need it. So there seems to be so much work around at the moment, though. I've found. So yeah, I mean, maybe not for all you were saying you'd gone quiet, but for the windows as well. Like I said, it's coming in all the time. So now I'm just plucking numbers out of the air, to be honest.
Yeah, and I suppose that comes with experience and people knowing your name and the time spent in the industry. It doesn't happen overnight, does it? It takes a couple of years to get going.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Thank you so much, Dave. Have you got any last bits of advice for beginners that you'd say getting into window cleaning, pressure washing, gutters? Any advice that you think would have been invaluable to you when you first started?
If you can find somebody to give you a bit of help, go out and try it first. See how you get on with it. Don't invest a load and then find out you don't like it. Be prepared to work hard at it in all weathers and enjoy it. I love it. It's the best job in the world.
It's the reason you start your own business, and it is to actually do something you don't mind doing. You might even enjoy it, and you're making your own money, working for yourself, managing your own time. There's nothing better, is there?
Nah, absolutely brilliant.
Dave, where can people find you? Are you on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube?
I'm on the lot. Just look for Squeaky Clean Dave. Instagram, TikTok. Instagram, I think Squeaky Clean Dave 1. TikTok is Squeaky Clean Dave 0. YouTube Squeaky Clean Dave.
Awesome. guys, thank you so much for watching. Dave, thank you again for joining me. This was say that again.
Thank you for everybody's questions.
Yeah, sorry if we've not managed to get to everyone. We've been trying our best. I've never done anything like this before, so I hope it wasn't too janky. I know some of the audio might have been a bit weird at times, but hopefully more of this if everyone enjoys this sort of content. But again, thank you, Dave. I really appreciate it, mate.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
We'll meet up soon, and we'll I keep saying it. We'll do a job together soon. I promise.
We'll get there.
All right. See you in a bit, mate.
See ya. Bye bye.
See ya. Right then. Thank you, guys. How was that? Any feedback on that? I know there's a little bit of delay with the audio and stuff, and a slight bit of feedback. I think that was just, you know, speakers and microphones and stuff getting in the way of each other. But I hope that was useful. I hope the idea of this is to get someone else in the industry that's been doing this a long time. Dave is the ideal person. He's offering all the services and more that I'm offering, and I hope you got some good nuggets of information from that. I think he's absolutely full of them, isn't he? He's clearly been doing this a long time, and we might I'd like to do that again, to be honest. I think there's a lot more to be said. He's very easy to talk to, isn't he? Yeah, thank you, guys. I'm going to leave it there and enjoy the rest of your evenings. Next week, I believe the plan, if he's still up for it, we're potentially getting Darren on from PWS, if he's still up for it, so that would be cool. Good to chat some equipment and technical stuff, maybe. Questions that I've had burning that I need someone in the industry to answer for me, because it's not the sort of stuff you can Google. So I'll get all my questions ready. If anyone else has got any questions for Darren at PWS, send them in a message, put them in the YouTube comments. You know, helpful. Thanks, Carl. Thank you, Bradley. Thanks for watching. Alex, Gary, Nix, Crystal, Jordan. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. See you in a bit.